Okay, so I guess I'd like to call the March 24th, 2021 meeting of the Easthampton Parks and Recreation Commission to order. Our regular chair, Paul St. Pierre, was unable to join us this evening. He's a little under the weather. So I'm been called in out of the bullpen to, as vice chair, to run the meeting. We wish Paul the best and hope he gets well, and we look forward to seeing him at next month's meeting. The fine print. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law and the governor's March 15th order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Parks and Recreation Commission is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder that persons who would like to listen or review this meeting while in progress might do so by accessing the Zoom link in the agenda. We will post a recording of this meeting on the Easthampton Media website as soon as we're able, and we thank our friends Jen Ramsey and her great team at Easthampton Media for all the hard work we do. First order of business, John, we don't have any minutes to approve, I don't believe, at this time?
No.
Okay.
Not for this one. Okay.
So then, first order of business is public speak. This is the opportunity for members of the public who are here to address the commission. If you are interested in speaking, please raise your hand, either via the Zoom option or if you just want to wave your hand. I'm trying to make sure that I can see everyone. Anyone from the public who would like to address the commission? Going once, going twice. Okay. Hearing none and seeing no hands at this point, we'll close public speak. Next item on the agenda is 2020 park rentals. John?
Okay. So for park rentals, we're haven't started taking them yet. We're waiting for the most recent state guidelines, which came out at 5 o'clock on Monday night, the 22nd of March, to review those and see how we can make sure we provide a safe atmosphere for the public in our parks. We had a meeting with the mayor and the treasurer regarding financial ramifications of not having full-on rentals available, and we're aware of it and understanding of that safety comes first, and finances are something that we can worry about later on, regarding how much turnover we have at the end of the year. With that being said, we're looking at no millside events for the foreseeable future. That includes the fireworks. That includes our own Arts in the Park programs, Mill Pond Live shows, the bigger high capacity events. We're bringing people together in such a tight space as Millside is. We are not allowing those at this point. Maybe fall. We'll see where numbers take us and where we're at, but for the safety of all residents and citizens and everything, we thought it was best to continue that policy from last year.
Well, the mandate's the same as last year, John, basically.
Yes. Yep. And we, as much as we wanted to have our own shows and things, because we are a smaller scale, we're in this together, and we understand that, telling one group they can't do anything and then try to do something on our own is just not right or fair. And truthfully, we agree 100% with, shutting it down for all. The next thing is, what's that?
Did you say no summer camp?
No, I haven't got to that yet. This is just rental
okay.
stuff.
Okay. I'm sorry.
That was just strictly mill side. And then as far as pavilions goes, we talked about residents only pavilion rentals and picnic site rentals for this year, with the hope that we can kind of control numbers, attendance. Hopefully it's only residents. This is pavilion rentals are going to be a real tough thing because of contact tracing. Renters are going to have to be a COVID enforcer for their party, making sure people are wearing masks and things like that are required in the park. They're also going to have to keep an attendance list. There's also the number of folks that would be allowed to come into the pavilion areas. So there's a host of concerns with not only residents only, but pavilion rentals in general. With what we have in guidelines now for contact tracing is, for youth soccer, I get the rosters in advance, at least 48 hours in advance. I know which communities are coming in. If any communities, a red community, the game's canceled, they're not allowed in. After the games, the roster is then resubmitted to me with who actually attended the game, so we know for contact tracing. With pavilions, that's going to be required as well. A list of who potentially could be coming and then who actually showed up. So looking at some kind of deposit fee to go along with that, so people follow through on that. It's going to be a logistical hurdle for pavilions. The other thing, if we are looking at pavilion rentals, it would only be 2 pavilions per day on the weekends. And then we'd alternate, so we'd shut down the other 2 for proper cleaning. So we having 4 pavilions is not going to happen. Just for the number of people coming in and to make sure that we are cleaning those areas. For example, Pavilion 1 has their own bathroom next to it, so we can make sure after Pavilion 1 shut down, we can keep that bathroom closed until it's been properly cleaned and up to our standards and CDC standards. Also looking at limited for Pavilion 3 when Little League and other youth sports are down there. That area gets tight if we have games going on and then 100 people trying to use a pavilion. That's close. At least with 2, you're kind of on your own. 1 and 4, you're in your own little pod. It's a little easier. So those are some of the other things that we're dealing with and working with to make sure that we provide some services, but to make sure we're providing as safe as possible situation for all, not only pavilion renters, but folks that are just in the park walking their dog or having catch play, reading a book, whatever it may be. Also no weekday rentals, and I can get to that reason. During the summertime, and this will kind of answer Ron's question and I'll jump back, is for Camp Nanotech, we are going to be using all 4 pavilions. We're going to be going into smaller groups. We're having less kids. We're going to take on less kids. Once again, it's going to be more pods. That way, if there is COVID concerns, on top of what we will do to make sure that we are following all protocols. But if there is, it's not a complete outbreak amongst the whole camp. It's going to be groups of 10. So everybody, we're going to have very little intermingling once they get their groups each week. So that is the reason why we're not going to do any weekday rentals on top of the staff having to do the extra cleaning and protocols for the facility. Between bathrooms and adding weekday rentals is going to be too much for everyone to make sure we're providing, once again, a safe area. Any questions? And picnic sites would be residents only as well, and also looking at alternating sites. So 2 sites wouldn't be right next to each other for rental. So we, once again, look at spacing things out, trying to keep smaller groups, smaller things, folks together. So any questions on our thoughts on residents only, or concerns with residents only, or concerns with even having pavilion rentals this year? There's going to be challenges. Enforcement issues and things like that are definitely going to be tough on the staff, security, everyone. We just hope that everybody comes with the right frame of mind and appreciates the potential opportunity to have family outings and things like that. So, if you want to open it up for discussion for that before I move on, love to hear some input. This is not set in stone. We have not started taking rentals. I wanted to hear from you guys and what you guys thought regarding some of the things we were kicking around for pavilion rentals.
I mean, John, I do have a few questions and a few thoughts on this, but I see Andy. I think I maybe see Andy kind of was raising his hand. I want to give people an opportunity to comment because I have a number of questions on this topic.
So I guess my thing is I'm assuming we're following, pretty much everybody else in the area is probably following the same protocols, and we're just kind of staying in with everybody else. And I agree with you, John, with the theory that you're trusting people to come in and follow whatever basis so you're trusting someone else, and then you're asking your people to have to legislate whatever it is that goes on at each campsite. So it is I agree, it's a difficult thing.
Okay. Yeah, it will be.
I can see a real hassle at the gate. For people that want to rent our sites and stuff, it's not always local people.
Yeah, it's really going to have to be a major push. Most people do call. There's not a lot of walk-in picnic site rentals, to tell you the truth. People reserve them in advance. So there have to be a major outreach to everyone. Last year, it worked out pretty good. Everybody was really understanding. We didn't have very many folks. We didn't have parties coming in last year. We didn't have people taking over picnic sites. We let everybody know that picnic sites were shut down, pavilions were shut down. We still had some people come in and read a book or have lunch with a friend, and we're across each other in the picnic area with masks on, things like that. But it's going to be challenging.
So, John, first off, thank you for everything that you have done and all the policies that you've put in over the last, more than a year now to keep everyone safe. I think you've done a really, really great job with that. So I appreciate your efforts in that spirit. So I have a few questions. So you spoke of in the topic of contact tracing, when out of town teams will come in to play a game, that you'll have the rosters. Does that and the follow-up rosters, will that include fans, parents, etc.? I know, and I think I might have caught it on like Championship Sunday. I cruised through the park last year and came across about 100 people attending a baseball game on a Sunday morning, and it just felt. It felt a little off when like the basketball hoops were down in order for safety, and we had 100, it was literally 100 people, and I think one of the teams was an Easthampton team, and the other team was an out of town team.
Yes, that actually did happen. And the other team was Northampton, and the site director, and actually they were shut down after that game, and they weren't allowed to continue in the fall. These policies are non-negotiable. The new guidelines from the state is if it's a game with 21-year-old players or older, say your Quabbin Valley, your adult leagues, things like that, no fans whatsoever. If it's under that, it's parents or guardians only.
Okay.
There's not supposed to be. These folks sign off on this, and I hold them to it.
Okay.
This is, I have a piece of paper and I show them, this is what you signed off and said you would make sure it wouldn't happen. Well, it's not my job. Well, then guess what? Then you've broken the contract that we have together, and you're no longer allowed to play in our facilities. If you can't police it, as someone who is going to be a program leader or an organization leader, then if you can't police it within yourselves, then you're not going to be here. And then maybe that will get them. And I don't want to single out a single group, but that will. You can go back and say, well, guess what? Now we can't go and play home games anymore in Easthampton. We didn't do our due diligence. We didn't follow protocols, and we're getting called out on it. That's why everybody signs these, and I keep a file. I got a file that thick from last year. With rosters and sign-off sheets, and every youth soccer coach signs it, every youth baseball coach signs it, all the league administrators sign it. It's been tough to get freedom and getting activities and things out there for folks to do. So being able to. That was my wife, sorry, in the background. Being able to have the ability to do it, it should be appreciated, and not, have 100 people at a ball game where fans are coming from all over.
Right.
I got notice of that right away. And to be quite honest with you, it was the Board of Health's cousin who coached the other team. So we were fully aware of that, which makes it even more appalling, to tell you the truth, completely honestly.
So then, kind of a follow-up question to that then is, if the plan is to do this kind of contract tracing for Pavilion Rentals, I guess I'm not certain, or I'm not sure why then we would put a policy in that it's strictly Easthampton residents. So if I rent a pavilion and I have a friend from South Hadley, they can't attend the function. You know what I mean? If we're following the protocols for the and I'm not, everyone here knows how much I love baseball and soccer, but it kind of feels like we're having a different set of standards for the picnic renters as we are for the organized sports teams. So, I mean, if we're allowing out of town people to use our facilities for organized sports, then, and I understand the intent of this is for safety, but, with some of the limitations that you've put in, like only renting two, I think renting 2 pavilions a day on a weekend is fantastic. I think the midweek rentals, I think that's totally fine. I guess I'm just, it seems like we're having different standards for different groups. If family A, who has several children who play travel sports, clearly has the disposable income for their children to play travel sports teams, family B might not have that income, and a $20 picnic site rental for the day is a great outing. I'm worried more about family B, who a more potentially underserved population who might not have. It feels like we're kind of catering to the pay to play folks and not so much the passive users of the park, is just my concern with this.
I'll give you one of the main drives of this, and this is coming directly from the mayor, is that the taxpayers of Easthampton have had a tough year, And if they can get the park and get discounts and get the facility for residents, then and to be in a safe area, safe environment, in more of a controlled environment, then that was the major rationale that try to get back the park to the residents after a year of not having it and supporting taxes and things like that and going through what every person has dealt with in their own way during this pandemic.
Sure. So what I guess what I'm saying is if it's two products against the Rotary Club on BRD Fields, that's all Easthampton kids. That's all Easthampton residents. So I just kind of feel like we really should do this one, across the board, one way or the other. If we're saying it's just going to be, and I don't want to see this necessarily happen, and I don't want to be picking on, the travel sports leagues, but it just, it doesn't feel right to me. I might be the only one on the commission who feels that way, but it doesn't feel right to me.
So the kicker is, to me, if you got sports teams coming in from outside, you have a list in front of you that they've done beforehand. And if someone's renting a campsite or you don't know who's going to show. And typically, someone may show up. How you regulate that? So you kind of put the park in the position that you don't know who's really going to show up. And I don't know about the previous event, but typically the organized sports leagues are more dedicated to telling, like, I've got a guy that works for me that's got told he's got kids playing hockey. Only 2 parents can go. So it's like the school kind of regulates who's going and the leagues regulate, versus if you open up the campsite thing to anybody, you never know who, and you're asking the park to regulate or tell someone to go away. And that's a position that, to me, those people don't get paid enough to tell that. Tell somebody, I'm sorry, you can't come in.
Yeah,
I agree.
I guess. Oh, sorry, Ron. Go ahead.
No, what Andy just said, I agree with him here. What if they open up everything by, say, June or something? In other words, open up all the restaurants and all the meeting places and everything, and would we change it then that anybody could come in?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure where we would go with that, to tell you the truth. Our main thing was to make sure people do a lot of planning for events when it comes to pavilions. That's why, March, the first Monday in March usually is out of control with phone calls, voicemails that are on there, and people knocking at the door at 8 o'clock. Everything's up for review. I mean, everything's been fluent through this whole process. We've adapted, we've adjusted, we've rolled with the punches. So I would imagine we would continue to do that. Absolutely. I'm in favor of that. I'm always looking to, if something is considered to be open up and safe and then we can move forward, then absolutely. But this city's always been on the cautious side, which has been a good thing, as it turned out to be, to make sure we were maintaining a cautious level through this whole process. And I'm sure that trend will continue to be cautious.
I also think it's not unreasonable to ask potential renters to include language in the. I mean, you sign a contract when you rent a pavilion that your event would be limited to whatever maybe 50% capacity, whatever the capacity of normal of each pavilion is, maybe, and I know they vary from size, but agreement that you'd be limited to 50% capacity of the pavilion, and you have to furnish lists of who attended. You have to have a sign-in sheet. I mean, if that's not too big of an ask for the sports leagues, I don't think it's too big of an ask for potential renters. So, but I think that if this is something that enables us to have, a baseball team from Granby here, then, why can't I have a party with my friend from Holyoke,
I'm sorry. Again, I'm gonna be the squeaky wheel, John. I apologize, but
I'm being the squeaky wheel, Andy. So.
Oh, me and you were going. I apologize, but we're kind of. I've been to several places where they do contract tracing. For instance, you can go into a couple of local restaurants in town, and they have a sign-up board for people that come in. And I've seen Mickey Mouse. To me, the difference between a sports league and someone that's just coming in for a renter is it's a little different. The sports league knows who kids are playing, who the parents are, who the grandparents are. When you're opening it up to the general public, you've got it's a different scenario. So that's and I get it. The idea is to have the park open for everybody, and we've done the park. John does a great job there. It's just I think it's a different mindset. The outside people that have a sports team have a little bit more control of who's going to show up versus a renter you're going to trust some guy to put his name down on a sheet. And I guess that's my biggest concern.
That's good concern.
Did Sam happen to look? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Did Sam ever check to see how many pavilions were rented from out of town and in town?
Oh yeah, we have those stats. We keep track of percentage of out of town picnic site. We keep track of resident and non-resident pool passes, daily passes. We have all that information. It is we rent more to non-residents than residents.
Yikes. This is a problem.
How so, Ron? Do you want to just expand on that a little?
No, it just, trying to figure out who came and who's going to come and who doesn't come. And and I know that if you're renting a pavilion and you have a party or something, you invite people, well, you don't know who's coming, who's not coming. Somebody'd have to stand there and get their names, and like you said, Mickey Mouse and Robin Hood and.
Well, I can. There's not much to stop me from going up to my nephew's soccer game too, You know what I mean? I feel like that's a similar scenario. The sports leagues can say, oh, we have control over everyone, but do they fully? Do they really?
Yeah, you're right. Good point. Someone can show. Yeah, you're right, because they have. Again, it's an open field. Someone can show up. You're right. I agree. There's nothing easy about. This is not an easy conversation, obviously.
Yeah.
No. Not at all. It doesn't matter to our department as far as workload. I think putting whether it gets rented by a resident or a non-resident, we're only going to have two per day on the weekends at the most. If we want to, like Eric says, we want to look at a capacity limit and look at whether it's 50, 75, or whatever the number may be is the most. And if they anticipate more than that, then I'm sorry, unfortunately, we're not the place for you this year. All those things they're in play as far as I'm concerned. Whatever we move forward with, I just would like to open up the reservations on April 5th and start getting an idea of what, so folks can start planning what they have going on. And when I say no weekday rentals, that is the July and August when camp's here. So that, the last week of June, through August. So that, you know, there's going to be some smaller groups, I'm sure, that want it in May and June during the week for some. You know, we always have people that want to have, you know, just a small luncheon or something like that during the week on a Friday or something. So we'll still look at those types of things, but it's mainly during the busy season when camp is available that no other weekday pavilion rentals.
You know, to me, John, it's up to what you can manage, because it's obviously it's outside of what the norm is for what that park is built for. So, I mean, whatever you're good with, I'm good with. You know.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is they have to make sure, and like you said, it can't be Mickey Mouse written down. They have to make sure that they are doing contact tracing rosters. I mean, you have to do that. It's no fun for restaurants. It's no fun for us, like I said, to track down every team that's coming in and rosters and making sure I have everybody, and then having another roster sent out 48 hours after. But it is what it is, and that's where we're at in society right now. So, you know, we can handle whatever comes about. But if we, and you know, I'm going to talk to the mayor about this after. If we do go with non-resident rentals or whatever, you know, we got to look at a hard number, and that's the number. We're not going to tell someone up at Millside they can't have 150, 175 people in an open area up there, and then have a 200-person blowout at Pavilion 4. It just can't happen.
Right.
Yeah, I think we all agree with that. Yeah. Bob, Jim, do you want to chime? I just wanted to give some space for either of you to share thoughts if you have them.
Agree. I'm fine. I'm just part of the group, and I agree with it, and I think the group is super. That's it.
Okay, great. Jim, are you there?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep, we can hear you now.
Oh, but whew, it wasn't working, and that's why I had to hang up and go in meeting. So.
Jim, did you have any thoughts on this topic, or?
Well, it sounds like, I mean, I understand that, you know, the numbers, like John has got the handle on that part of it too. I know he's constricted as to what he can do because the state tells them what they can do right now, and you don't have all the state reopening yet, right, John, as far as information that you said released on Monday, which was just a couple days ago?
Yeah, so they released the latest guidelines, which they update every few months.
Yeah, not everybody. I mean, who's going to be checking temperatures? Is that something too? Is that?
No,
I mean,
they have to. You have to sign. They have to sign a form that says that they have checked to make sure that none of their, to the best of their knowledge, no one has displayed any COVID symptoms, fever, the whole CDC guidelines. There's a full sheet that, you know, yes, none of my, and they have to sign off on that. I understand, you know, it's all part of the paperwork process. You know, and the other thing that's, you know, it's going to be a tough hurdle during this process is, you know, collecting all the paperwork for pavilions during this time, and dispersing it out to people and having it returned. You know, with offices closed at this point, we are doing meeting people outside, things like that. But it's that's going to be a tough hurdle as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, not all pavilions at once. That's a good plan. I think and the fall things aren't figured out yet either, like the pumpkin thing.
No, we're not even.
Drag
close to
Jimmy, I'm thinking we need to worry about like this month or next month.
Yeah, we got to worry about getting some information out for April 5th.
No, but I'm saying things could change, like everyone is saying.
Oh, yeah.
Things could
get better, it could get worse. Who knows?
Yeah.
So, all right. So this might be a can of worms, but this just popped into my head. So, we're spitballing this right now. Would this be creating an impossible amount of work if we, for example, started, if we went with the mayor's recommendation to begin the season of only Easthampton residents renting sites and then perhaps opening it up on, say, July 1st? I realize there's some time, there's time that has to happen. You're under a time constraint of having to get things open and starting to accept reservations. And again, believe me, I'm not saying, we need to reopen the park to full capacity and why are people wearing masks and whatnot. That's not at all what you know what I mean? All of your efforts around safety, I completely support. But I'm just wondering if as things progress throughout the summer, if that's something that we could potentially revisit.
I'd be all for it. If we want to look at April 5th and go with residents only and work through it, and then we come back at our next meeting and say, you know what, we've hashed some more things out. This is what we're looking to do, and we decided we're going to open it up to everybody. May 1st for rentals that are available after the 4th of July for the remainder of the year. I'm okay. I'm good with that. My concern will be making sure we limit numbers. I think that's a good thing to make sure we maintain no matter what. Eric, when you say getting non-resident, my thing is the number of people in the park is really my ultimate concern, because if a resident rents our facility and I get a roster back with 40 people from every other community other than Easthampton, well, what was the point of having residents only rent if they're bringing everybody from all over the country? Well,
I guess that sort of is my point.
Yeah, that's the general point.
Yeah.
And
it's a balance of a public health and safety issue, and it's also, I think there is an equity issue at play here also, I think.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I think it's just trying to think that we know what Easthampton's numbers are. They've done a really nice job with our tote board and information and so I think and when we get to Camp Nanotech, you'll see more of the reasoning for some of the decisions that were thought about, or some of the discussions that were thought about to get to this point. But yeah, I'm fully on board if we want to, do whatever. Just I got to make sure I have smaller numbers, and like I said, I got to control what comes into the park.
So I guess I'll ask you at this point. So are you looking for a vote from the commission on this, or is this just this like an information sharing you're sharing with us? You wanted to get our feedback. I
wanted to get your feedback
okay.
Because ultimately, if you guys don't agree with the residents only policy, you're going to be out in the community and you're going to hear from it. So that's why I wanted to push this date off, and we didn't release any information to the public regarding it, because I wanted to make sure everybody's comfortable with whatever approach we go with. The only, like I said, I've said it 100 times already tonight. The only thing I'm worried about is being comfortable with the number of folks in the park, and making sure we can do our jobs, cleaning bathrooms, cleaning facilities, cleaning high-touch areas, and those things, and making sure that we understand who came in and who left the park, and that if there's any issues, we're on top of it instead of looking for it later.
So let me ask you, John, in the end, are you comfortable with the residents only?
I'm comfortable residents only, but like I said, when a resident signs someone up or signs up a pavilion and they invite 20 friends from other communities, so we've managed a certain number of folks by saying they're residents only, which still could, have COVID. But we still have a number of folks outside. So we're managing probably a smaller number of folks that we know are Easthampton residents. But yeah, it's tough.
I guess in the end, though, we're holding Easthampton residents responsible for the park, right?
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that has more bite to it or not.
Right, I get it, but
but the general sense was when I'm discussing with the mayor and the mayor, was what can we do for the Easthampton residents in the park
to give them a first crack.
Yeah, and so, we can look at that and maybe say April 5th, it's residents only rental, and then we look at May 5th, opening it up to, or the first Monday in May, we open it up to non-residents now and say, guess what? We have these openings available, and now we're going to start taking those, and these are the numbers that we can only accommodate. But this is what we're doing for this year, and for the most part, people have been very understanding of how things when they call or email, it's like, I know this might be a shot in the dark, but are you taking Pavilion Rentals this year? So it's been. Folks have been very good trying to navigate through this and very understanding, which has been very nice to deal with.
Yeah, so I think that could potentially be, be the approach. You've talked about limiting sites. You talked about limiting pavilions, and we talked about limiting the numbers of people in pavilions, and then as the summer progresses, and start the summer with that same mentality, just in an effort to limit numbers, Easthampton residents only, but then revisiting that and potentially reopening it up at a later date. That'd be okay.
Yep, that
sounds good to me. I will. Soon I will talk to the mayor tomorrow or the next day, whenever she's available. She's got a lot going on. She's very busy. But as soon as I can track her down, I'm going to give her back that feedback that, we want to do the right thing. We're going to offer to residents only first. And then, then we're going to, as long as they're, the qualifier is if anybody calls from a red zone area, if they're the renters, it's the same thing I do with sports leagues. If that team is coming from, I don't want to pick on a team or town X, right. They're not coming in. And it doesn't matter if none of the kids have any symptoms or anything. If you're the one signing
my wife
the paper,
is from town X. I'm offended. My wife
if you
is from
sign the paper saying you're going to be, you're the person in charge of it, and you're coming from whatever town suddenly goes into the red, then it's off. It's canceled. And we've had to do that with sports leagues. And guess what? If Easthampton goes in the red, we're canceling Easthampton residents stuff as well. So it's not picking on any town and individual. It's if we go red, guess what? We're shutting down our stuff as well. So for pavilions, and we'll go back to closure on that. So I think that's a good.
And then it's about safety.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Always. Always.
There's nothing written in stone. We can change things as we go along. If
No,
we have
exactly.
to.
So what I'm going to relay to Sam is on April 5th, we're going to open up pavilions to residents only. And then the first Monday in May, we're going to open them up to non-residents, whatever available. We're going to give residents first crack at our facilities. And if we're not seeing a lot of that, we will still maintain the same thing that everybody's got to sign the same paperwork. But I think that's a fair and equitable solution. And I'm more than willing to present that or let the mayor know that that's what the commission is more comfortable with moving forward.
A soft opening. It sounds good.
So do we need to vote on that, John?
No. This is
Tentative.
just discussion to where we're going. So I will make those, and I'm sure she'll be understanding of that. I will look at the number of tables and things in the pavilions and confirm, and we will move the tables to make sure they are socially distanced apart and meet all state and local guidelines regarding seating. And then we will determine the number of folks that will be allowed inside the pavilion as such. So we will take all the measurements. I could probably even get Bree from the Board of Health to meet me down in the park and get her expert opinion on this. She's dealt with the restaurants and everything through this whole thing. So, we'll coordinate that and make sure we're meeting the safety guidelines.
Great.
So not to open another can of worms, but so will the person out in front when the people are coming into the park have an idea who's coming in?
I'm not sure if we're going to have a toll booth attendant because we're not charging this year.
Okay.
That's another thing that we've determined. And one of the things about, providing for residents was not to have any toll booth, no fees to come into the park. We want to do whatever we can to help folks. So
That's great.
That's a good idea.
Okay.
Hey, John.
yes.
Talking about non-residents, I mean, well, my friend Jack, he's always bugging you when the sign's up and all.
Yep.
Like, he's a Shriner and he has the party, but people come from all over. I'm sure there's not even that many from Easthampton. And how would that work, that they're mostly all out of town?
He's a resident. He's going to be able to sign up for a pavilion as a resident.
As he's the host.
I'm not going to. So I'm not going to be asking for rosters for pavilions until we get like a couple of days before, and they're going to give me a list. Hopefully give a list or a tentative list. They should know who's coming with phone numbers. And then after the event, they're going to resubmit that list with who actually attended. So, if they put a check mark next to their name or cross out a name, whatever it is. So we know we have to plan accordingly of who is planning to come in. And then after the event's over, we need to know who was here. The second part is more important to know who was here, but both are required.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone have any last thoughts on park rentals? Next item, I think, which you've talked about a little bit already, John, is programming and Camp Nanotech.
Yeah, so I'm going to touch on Camp Nanotech. Late last night, the state just sent out the state guidelines. I have perused them, but I have not given the full bit by bit of what we're expected. What I can tell you is we've talked about pavilions, pods, things like that, and we are going residents only for camp with a significant reduced rate for residents. We are going to take a loss on Camp Nanotech this year. We want to provide, parents have been through enough. The kids have been home a lot. We want to provide a camp at a reduced cost. So we're looking at a $60 to $75 reduced fee. So just over $100 for camp this year, which is like a 35% reduction in our costs for folks. And budgeting out, we are going to take a loss on it. There's going to be some money where we can recover that for any type of costs we incur that require extra cleaning services, things like that, staffing to make sure we're properly cleaning, and mask things, sanitizer, all that stuff can be reimbursed. So there are some reimbursable expenses that will hopefully get us right to back. We just want to break even. This, we're not worried about making $1. We don't want to lose $1, but that's the goal. But one of the things was to make sure we can help out families as best we can this summer. So that's the intent with Camp Nanotech this year.
There'll be no trip, will there?
There's no outside trips, no.
Okay.
So yeah, there's no outside trips, smaller groups, reduced cost, and we are looking at getting like bounce house or things from Party Patrol in-house weekly. That the kids can, so it'll be like, instead of a trip, it'll be like Friday fun days, or Thursday, whatever day we decide, and let the kids be on inflatables. And that way we'll have them all day, and the groups can have them the small pods can be on there for an hour or two or whatever. And then we can have them cleaned, and then the next group can come in. So, that's the plan for that, but definitely no outside trips. They're not getting on a bus. They're not going anywhere. They're not leaving the comforts of Nanotech Park. So that's it for camp for now. We'll talk more as we get closer to camp season.
Okay. Any thoughts on that? Okay. Budget? Oh, I'm sorry. Someone? Oh, Jim.
No, I just said sounds good. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, no worries.
Nothing crazy on budgets. We're spending, we got our staff back. The guys are, spending money on repairs. We had a ton of tree damage in the park, on fencing, on the basketball court, inside the park. So we're spending our money on that. We're in good financial shape for this year. For next year, our budget was submitted. It was well received, so I think we're good for next year as well. So I don't see any issues with either one of those, current or next year.
Park facilities. Okay,
park facility. This is this is going to be under the pool and spray park. Once again, this might make for another long discussion, but looking at residents only for pool and spray park for this year, we would hire an attendant for the spray park, and also I have the fence company in, which is something we should have done anyways. When I was down there the other day, is we're going to have the spray park is not completely fenced in. It kind of fences and it just stops. So getting the whole spray park fenced in is one thing that we're hoping to get some money for, to be able to have that done. But having two pool cashiers, one would work the spray park, to manage numbers. If we're going to have that open, it can't be 30, 40 kids in that confined area. It has to be smaller groups. So it's going to be, 10, 12, whatever it is. And then one one or two leave, then one or two can come in. And same with the pool. The pool is not going to be based on lifeguard capacity. The state regs are 25 people to one lifeguard. We're not going to look to put 100 plus people into the pool area. There's just not enough social distancing space to be able to do that, and it's a lot to handle. So those are another thing we're looking at. What kind of numbers we can handle, but try to get some of our facilities open, which is another reason of trying to limit the number of folks that come in. When we have 4 pavilions running, during the regular year with 100 to 175 folks, that pool area just is jamming, and so we're trying to limit the number of capacity and what we can get in there, and so people aren't there's not the 2 or 3 times the amount of people that we normally have that are looking to get in there. So if we have reduced numbers along the board, we think we can manage people's expectations to get into the pool and things like that.
Do we have enough room for the complaint booth?
Well, this is another potential can of worms too, John, just in that, as Ron mentioned, his friend who rents the pavilion, many of the people who rent the pavilion might not be from town. If family A's kids are from town, and they're at this party, they could swim in the pool, but family B's kids can't swim in, it's like,
Not to me.
so it's the same idea in my head. Like if we're managing numbers, then, I'm not sure, I'm not sure about the resident, non-resident thing.
How about this? How about chew on this one to next month's meeting, because this one has no time urgency.
Perfect.
We are not opening the spray park until the middle of June, late June, and I'm not opening the pool until almost July 1st. So we got time on that one. So any feedback that you'd like me to send along or email me, I'm all about it. If we're going to be opening up picnic site rentals and pavilion rentals potentially on May 4th to non-residents, the pools won't even be open then. So it just seems a little like, again, I'm just kind of I'm thinking consistency is an important thing. Yeah, it was consistent at the start of this meeting because it was going to be residents only across the board.
Fair enough.
So now that's why we're into the muddied water. So let's table that portion.
Sounds good.
And we can get a handle on it. But at least where our thoughts are. Like I say, at the end of the day, it's more about managing numbers to me and controlling what we have coming into the park.
Awesome.
Master plan. I just wanted to follow up on this, and there was some grammatical correction that's needed to be done in the last one, spelling, things like that. Added page numbers for Ron at the bottom, and the capital requests that are associated with each one that were submitted to the city have also been added to it, and then some pictures and things like that. So, all those comments that were made last meeting were all good comments, and were all added to the document. My hope is I can re-release the draft maybe for next meeting. If not, like I said, we're not at a crazy urgent point with it. It's more of our long-term goals that I wanted to coordinate with the open space plan. So we'll try to get it out
plain and strong on
to everybody. Yes, that's on there as well. Anything that was added on, Jim, I take very good note. I take very good notes, and I took care of all that stuff.
Better than for Jim stuff, right? Except for Jim stuff.
Just a few things on our COVID response. The new regs, like I said, came out for youth leagues, came out Monday night, and camp last night. Some of the things for youth leagues that I'm holding through on the spring for is no tournaments. If you're playing, like last year, Little League played in-house. They only played within the community. Soccer did go outside the community and bring play away games and had other teams come in, but no tournaments are going to be allowed. Once again, if you're a red community, you're not allowed in. Same thing, rosters in advance. Going with a COVID enforcement rep for each league as well. Little League had someone every night down there making sure masks were being worn, things like that, and social distancing, and parents are staying in the car and for practice and for pickup, stuff like that. And soccer did the best. It's asking a lot for everybody to try to be a COVID officer. We try at the park. It's a big doing to keep reminding people about masks and social distancing, things like that. It's especially after a year in where it's getting COVID fatigue. People are getting vaccinated and they're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. So we're still gonna enforce where we can enforce and set policies to make sure people are mindful and being safe.
No, great.
And that's all I got.
And again, this will be probably the fourth or fifth time I've said it in this meeting. You all have done a really fantastic job with safety, and should be recognized for that. Can't be recognized enough as far as I'm concerned. So, good job.
I'm trying. Thank you.
Any old or continuing or any new business that folks want to bring to the table here?
Anything new in the cemetery? Anything? Oh, sorry.
Well, we did the cemetery while you weren't on there.
No, nothing new on the cemetery. Cemetery's had a lot of tree damage. They're doing a lot of cleanup. Jerry just came back, the assistant over there, so they're getting stuff done. They know their jobs. I don't have to put my thumb on them.
Yep.
Just a quick question. I noticed that the people that put on shows at Payson, got some money and they're buying stuff like, things for their plays and everything. Do you think that's going to hurt us if, with Millside, that they'd be putting on something there instead of Millside?
Well,
no, not this year. That's for sure.
It won't be a factor this year. Yeah.
Well, they have those circles where they can go, and sit a certain amount of people.
Yeah, and moving towards next year when we start hopefully reopening some of our events. We have a good working relationship with the arts community in Pascagoula. So I'd be more than comfortable to, I talked to her quite a bit, discussing when we're doing our things and making sure we're not overlapping on nights, and we're enhancing each other's performances and providing more opportunities than doubling up on a certain night or whatever it may be. So, as we get on to next year with that.
Yeah, and Ron, my impression of those concerts that they're having down at the City Hall, down at the municipal building, my impression of it was that it was something during last summer when there was nothing, when there was really kind of no recreational or no live music or no opportunities. There was something that people could do socially distanced. I don't think the intent is for it to be like maybe it is to be a long-term thing, but I don't see it as being something that's going to interfere with what we do.
Right. Well, let's hope not. I was just worried that somebody that wanted to do something at Millside, then they'd look at there and say, geez, this won't cost us anything, and we'll go up to Payson instead. Because they did buy what you call them.
We have Elvis come every year.
Yes, we do.
Any
I
other?
heard you were playing Elvis this year, John.
I don't know, Ron. With this COVID belly that I've put on, I might be able to play late era Elvis.
Welcome to the club.
Definitely not comeback special, Elvis. All right. Any other business?
Nope.
Okay. I will look to Ron for a motion to adjourn then.
Hold on, before we go on.
Whoa, time out.
Sorry, I apologize. I see we have a couple people like listening in. Can you tell me who you are so I could add them to the minutes, please?
I think they were just public folks, but.
Okay. All right. I'm good.
Yeah.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
So moved. Okay. We're all in
Where's
favor.
Bob?
I'm here, I'm
can second it.
listening, and I'm agreeing with all of you.
Okay.
Second that.
I'll second that.
All right.
Hey, guys, I listened, but I'm agreeing with you
All
completely.
right. Okay. So we're adjourned.
All right, thank you. Eric, great job.
No, all right.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a good evening, everybody.
Stay safe.
Thanks.
Take care.
Stay safe, be well.
You too.